Say hey, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside with me, of course, a busy Ian Cameron today, coming off of hitting the books earlier today. First of all, let's ask that. How's hitting the books? Of course. It's always a good time when you're with Connor Mack.
That was a good show, Jose. We got everybody ready for college football, as we always do. We're going to be on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern moving forward starting next week. And again, we talked both Friday games, tons of the Saturday college football games, some early week opinions, and hopefully we'll try to help people see where the lines are going to go as well throughout the course of the week. So check it out, Hitting the Books. It's already up and available on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel.
Yes, and I'm sure the cuts are being made right now, especially for those individual big games happening this week. Especially, the biggest game of the week, UTSA versus Army, among others. But it's always a good show with you and Connor Mack. Shout out to Big Show as well. I am excited about today's show, and yes, someone already commented, not applicable funky music. I'm changing up the intro a little bit. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll change it up tomorrow. I don't know. It might be a different song every day. I'm not sure, depending on how busy I am. But it's going to be a fun show nonetheless, changing things up around the cosmetics. Ian's changed up his background. He's outside. He's got a half-lit evil face. I love it. It makes me happy. And he's battling a bug right now. Fight that bug, Ian. Beat its ass, Ian. Fight him. Fight him. I love it. I love him. Fight him, Ian. I love it. I love it. And by the way, you're muted if you didn't notice. But you keep fighting that bug. Just fight. You battle that thing.
We're battling a bee right now. That's all right. Let it do its thing.
Ian, are you allergic? If you got stung, what do we have to call the ambulance for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's buzzing pretty good. Holy shit!
Get him, Ian. I love it.
I know. Yeah.
This is the fun of live shows with Say Hey Plays. We're gonna break down the full card today. It's funny how the September comes and my record starts going up and up and up. Another positive day yesterday. Riding both of those rookies making their debuts. That was awesome to see. 402 and 419 up 3.25 units now on the year. Slowly making that climb after August. But let's keep it rolling here. And we'll keep it rolling with Say Hey Plays 147. Say Hey 147 officially underway with Mets, Pirates. And if those of you that watched Peter Loshak's show today, you guys saw me and Pete, break down the card side by side. It was a lot of fun always with Pete, and we'll keep breaking down the card today with Ian Cameron. I'll set him up and hear his lovely opinion. As you guys know, I didn't have any on this game. I had nothing on the game. Mitch Keller coming off a pretty stellar performance, a 10K performance for Mitch Keller at Milwaukee. Can't always talk about Mitch Keller and 10Ks very often. But the Mets, obviously, a lineup to be feared, even though they're kind of down recently. Some people calling out maybe this is a Pirates spot, a little upset with Taijuan Walker. I kind of have a higher opinion of Taijuan Walker than the most. I passed on this game. 2 juice for the Mets. Don't think the Pirates compete here. What do you think about this game, Bobano?
Easy pass. I mean, there's no way I can lay this price with Walker. But at the same time, Walker's, even though with his inconsistencies, they're very real, he's still good enough. He can shut down this putrid Pirates lineup. Did nothing against the Blue Jays over the weekend. Just no offense whatsoever. Never got a big clutch hit with runners in scoring position. I don't trust this offense, even though I have my issues with Taijuan Walker. So this is a clear stay away from me, side and total.
Beautiful. And like I said, it's with all these football games starting and all those sports coming, it makes it easier to pass on these games. It makes it very much an easier proposition. Let's move on to this Red Sox-Rays game, which has had a pitching change. It was supposed to be Drew Rasmussen today. Now it is JT Chargois. So my Rays first 5 bet got canceled out. On RotoWire, it's not even Drew Rasmussen as the primary. So something happened to Drew. I have not seen what happened to Drew yet. Bobano, if you know what happened to Drew, please interject whenever. But I have not seen anything. I just saw that this is now the pitching change. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now, honestly, after breaking on the card and I was on Rays first 5 earlier, that obviously gets canceled out with the pitching change. I like the Red Sox here. I like the Red Sox. They've been hitting the ball well, obviously, second against righties right now, 130 weighted runs created plus. Actually, funny enough, I saw a stat here today. Tweet like 10 minutes before the show starts. Red Sox have the most runs scored after the All-Star break or after the trade deadline. I think it was actually after the trade deadline. and then they also have the most runs given up. So it's, that's how it goes with the Red Sox. I would not necessarily hate an over in this game as well here, because trusting Rich Hill is a tough proposition, especially after dominating them so thoroughly. I think the Rays bats can make the adjustment, like I said earlier, but I'm leaning towards the Red Sox, but I have no official play as of late. Ian, what do you think of this game?
I'm actually looking at the Rays, even with the pitching change. Rich Hill, Dick Mountain, has actually been okay lately, but I just like the way Tampa Bay's playing. They're finding ways. And the big news for this game is the pitching change. Obviously, Rasmussen's not going to play. It's going to be obviously JT Chargois starting as an opener. But the big news is Yanni Chirinos. Remember him? Honey Nut Chirinos? He is back, and he is going to be the primary pitcher for the Rays. And we haven't seen him in a very long time. Of course, his 2020 season got derailed. Tommy John surgery back in August of 2 years ago. And he's finally ready to pitch here at the big league level again. He was pitching basically in AAA just recently. Decent numbers down there, 3 ERA. We'll see if he's able to make this jump. So Yanni Chirinos, now at 28 years old, going to be the primary pitcher tonight for the Rays in this game. Let's see how he fares. He hasn't pitched, like I say, in the big leagues now in a couple of years. But, more than anything, it's a reasonable price to back a surging Rays team playing good baseball. And obviously Boston, is just playing out the string at this point. So it's really nothing more than that in terms of taking Tampa here at around minus 130.
Yeah, and don't look now at the Yankees, but the Rays can catch them. I think the Rays, they stay hot. They really can catch them. And by the way, I had a classic old computer back there shuts down, so we have to switch computers. This is why we're prepared here on Say Hey Play. So we're flexible.
Welcome to live programming. Yeah,
exactly. We're flexible. You're battling bees. I'm battling the computer just shutting down over there. This is why they pay us the money they do. Ian. So shout out to them. Up 5. I am not a Steelers fan. I am a Mason Rudolph fan. This is a Mason Rudolph jersey from not many people that know this. I do not like the Steelers. I like Mason Rudolph. And I wore this jersey in solidarity because he got hosed out of that starting job. Mitch Trubisky, phooey. He's actually pretty bad, but whatever. It's fine. Miami Marlins versus the Philadelphia Phillies next game up. Jesus Luzardo, Aaron Nola. This was an easy first 5 under spot for me. I didn't have the heart to take it, truthfully, at 3.5, but that was just my first initial look here. A little worried about Aaron Nola, home road ERA. I mentioned that with Pete, and he's really good, laid out a good case of just saying, he dominates the crappy teams at home. Point in case, his last home start was against the Reds 2 starts ago, I guess now. 9 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs. I remember it well because I was on the Reds that day, and I was on Justin Dunn. I believe it was Justin Dunn. I don't remember who it was exactly, I think. But I lose that. It was like a 1-0 or whatever it happened, and he just kept rolling and dominating. So I don't have the heart to take it today, and this is just a lean here with the Phillies also having the 9th best offense right now against lefties, and 119 weighted runs created plus in the last 2 weeks. So a pass game for me here, Ian. What about you?
Just a shekel or two on the Marlins first 5 full game for me. Just a small piece, just a tiny piece, just because the price is so tantalizing here, getting Miami at this plus 190 to plus 200 price tag with Luzardo, who shut down the Phillies, by the way, in the previous 2 starts he's made against them. Both last year, he pitched 2 gems against Philly. He's in good form. Now, they've lost his last 4 starts, but he pitched pretty good in all of them. It's, why they lost. Miami can't hit their way out of a wet paper bag, and that's the big concern here is even taking Miami. They've got to score some runs, even if Luzardo pitches well, and they're not doing that right now collectively. The entire lineup is ice cold, so even Nola could be able to shut them down. So I don't disagree with a first 5 under look. Clearly, this should be runs at a premium, especially early. But I'm going to take a small shot, even with this bad Marlin offense, with the fish at the big number, because I think Luzardo's bet on, and he has a track record of doing well against Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't hate the look. I really don't. I'd be the same way if I'd take a small piece of them as well, like you mentioned. So I'm glad we're lock and step there. As many people know, Minnesota, New York is rained out, so we just skip on over. That would have been a good pitching matchup. Would have been fun to see, so we might see it tomorrow. Who knows? Toronto, Baltimore is next. And Ian, I would just love to hear what you have to say about the Blue Jays last couple of days. They sweep Baltimore in that doubleheader yesterday, a big one. Kevin Gausman being fired up and everything. Bo Bichette, as my man Dennis Garcia, aka Star Sky Dragon, will tell us, is moving him to third was a big difference maker. And he even said earlier today that the World Series run started yesterday, and I've been on the Blue Jays bandwagon the whole time. How do you feel about him right now?
Well, obviously they've taken care of business, so the Pittsburgh series in particular. But I have to give them credit. They actually looked. That was very impressive yesterday to not just win one, but both of those games of the afternoon doubleheader against the Orioles yesterday, putting two more games of distance between them and the Orioles, who are now 4.5 back of the Jays for that third wild card spot. Very impressed with what Toronto did yesterday. And obviously they got good pitching performances. They got timely hitting, especially from, as you mentioned, Bo Bichette had a huge game, especially game 2 of that doubleheader. I think this is a Baltimore spot tonight, though. I really do. It's hard to, want to go against the Jays, to be honest, the way they've played. They swept Pittsburgh. They turned it around against the Cubs last week at home, swept Pittsburgh, swept the doubleheader yesterday. So they look like they're heating up, but this feels like a spot here for the Orioles tonight. Bradish has been more than serviceable. He's been pretty solid overall for the most part. At home, he's capable, and he's actually done okay against the Jays in the past a little bit. And Mitch White, I'm a little bit concerned about him because, he's pitched a lot of innings now, more than he's been accustomed to at the major league level coming into this start tonight. You wonder if it's going to start to take its toll just a little bit, how many major league innings he's pitched. I mean, his quality of outings has got deteriorated his last 2 starts. He's been roughed up that he's taken the mound for the Blue Jays. So I actually think Baltimore is probably a good spot, good situation. I think they got the slight pitching edge with Bradish. They're certainly going to be in a spot where, hey, we lost both games yesterday. We're 4.5 back. It's now or never time for us. So I think for tonight, the way I would look is Baltimore.
Interesting. Jake Burns also says best bet Orioles. Got a lot on him. He has them first 5 full game -1.5, and he took some 2.5 as well. -2.5, that is. Remember, folks.
I agree with that too. The total. I think I did play the total a little bit as well. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, the 8.5 over. I think it's worth a look. I think we'll see some runs again tonight. And again, both bullpens were torched. Not torched in terms of roughed up. Baltimore's in particular was roughed up, but I mean both bullpens were taxed. In usage was very, very heavy yesterday in both games. So. You got 2 very worn down, taxed bullpens tonight as well. So that could add fuel to the fire. And if you don't get the runs early, you might get them late. So I like over 8.5 too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got to talk about that game. I love talking Blue Jays with you, Bobano. Even though you and Jimmy are notoriously down on the Blue Jays, I continue to wave my Maple Leaf. It's going to be a great time to see what happens. And by the way, shout out to Bo Jackson, who got his postseason seat already. That's a cool thing to see. Cincinnati Red, Chicago Cub. My first play of the day, as you guys mentioned, or as I mentioned, I'm a Justin Dunn guy. I've been betting on him in spots. He's been pitching well. And I'll be honest, I don't think I've won one of these bets on him just because the offense has just never been there against or for me, I guess I should say. His last 2 appearances, 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run against the Seattle or St. Louis Cardinals, I should say. Good start. And the aforementioned Philly start that I mentioned earlier with against Aaron Nola, he went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs there, 5 Ks, 2 walks. I think he's been pitching really well, and I think this is a good dog spot, especially with Wade Miley coming off the 60-day IL, shoulder. That's always a little concerning. And I saw, and I wanted to look at this again, actually, to confirm the dates, but he had 5 rehab starts, and his distance between his last 2 was really weird. It was the 31st and the 16th of last month. So it took like a good break in between those last 2 starts. And I'd be a little put off then. Like, are you a little sore? Whatever it is. He pitched well. I mean, he pitched well. His last appearance, 3 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs there. You kind of want him to pitch better, but you could take that. And then 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned runs there. And that was before his break. Well, you know what? I should see even be more red flags, I should say, because his last start was in high A too after that long break. So, like I said, I'm just concerned about Wade Miley. I don't think he's going to pitch well here today. So I took Cincinnati first 5 money line here.
I don't hate that. I mean, Cincinnati's starting to play a little bit better. I mean, they've won some games lately. At least they have Jonathan India back in the lineup again, which definitely helps. I mean, you get that guy back again in the leadoff spot. It just sets things up nicely for the rest of the lineup. Nick Senzel's there now. Aquino starting to hit a bit better. I don't mind this look at all. I mean, Wade Miley's just a big fat coin flip. What you're going to get from him when he's been out for such a long period of time. Now, he was pitching well prior, 2.84 ERA, but first game back in a long time. Plus, you're laying the price you are with the Cubs. I mean, you're laying a minus 155 price with a team that's just not very good. I mean, the Reds aren't either, but the Cubs aren't much better. They only have 3 wins more than the Reds. You've got a pitcher who hasn't pitched in a while, and he's laying $150, $155. That ain't value to me. So I'm with you, Cincinnati or nothing.
All right, beautiful. I love to hear that. That's one of my 2 little first 5 dogs here. Another game we might be able to go through quickly because I had absolutely nothing here, even though the Washington Nationals, red hot, slapped the Mets twice, beat the Cardinals yesterday. I don't know if they can keep it going, but I'm not betting against them here. Minus 250, too rich for me. Jose Quintana has pitched continues to pitch just well. Like at the end of the day, you can't really fade him to succession. And it's just the Cardinals have been hitting well, extremely well for the last month or so. So I'm passing here. Paulo Espino, not the guy I want to bet on when going to this Nationals lineup. It might be Patrick Corbin now. Who the hell knows? We might be living in the upside down now, but another pass game for me.
Yeah, Espino's he's had some decent outings. Certainly last time against Oakland, he pitched all right, 1 run in 5 innings, but he's also had some rough outings. Padres roughed him up. Phillies roughed him up. Cardinals faced him back in July, and he only lasted 4.2 innings and gave up 4 runs on 7 hits against St. Louis in that game. That ended up going over the total. This Washington team, though, I mean, St. Louis certainly playing well. The last 10 games, they're 7-3, but all of a sudden the Cardinals here enter this game on a nice little 6-2 run in their last 8 games. They took 2 of 3 from the Mets. Who saw that coming over the weekend at Citi Field? They obviously won the opener last night, 6-0 shutout over the Cardinals with, of all people, Anibal Sanchez pitching a great game for the Nationals. So I'm not ready to lay this kind of number with Quintana and the Cardinals, especially a Nationals team that's perked up a little bit. They took a series against a great Mets team, battling for the division with Atlanta, and then they won and shut out St. Louis in the opener. So you've got these bad teams that show a pulse. I can't lay a price against them when they start to show the pulse like this. So that's why it would be Washington or nothing for me in this one. Maybe over as well. Over might get there. Both lineups are hitting at the moment.
All right. Lovely. By the way, I just checked because someone had DM'd me about the Cappers contest and everything. It seems believe the Cappers contest is now up and running. It's all live with week 1 odds and such. So I'll need to double check and everything. I think that actually some of these odds might be wrong, but I am excited to see and look. It looks like it's all getting ready to go here soon. But it's going to be a lot of fun here. Don't forget to sign up for the Cappers contest right now on Pub Sports Radio's website. It's going to be a lot of fun. $100 for both, and we'll play a video explaining that whole thing here later in the show. Cleveland Guardians, Kansas City Royals. Next game up, Bieber versus Bubic. And Bubic has started to pitch to his record. He's been pretty tough. His last start was pretty okay against the White Sox that notoriously are good against lefties. But I don't trust him. Bieber's been pitching well enough. I thought he might be a fade this season. Slapped it in all of our faces. Velocity didn't matter. He's not been the Cy Young guy we once remember, but he's still a good number 1 and not someone I want to go against. So another easy pass game for me.
Yeah, this one I think a Cleveland first 5 -1/2. I think I can get there with that. Again, is the price great? -135, -140, no. But I kind of like that. I kind of like a full game or first 5 full game run line split here in this one with the Guardians. I mean, Bieber has been solid. He's been consistent. He's given them a chance to win. Bubic back to pitching like a boob a little bit, I guess you could say, the last 4 starts. He gave up 4 runs, 10 hits to the Twins, 4 runs, 8 hits to the Rays, lasted just 5.2 and 3.2 innings in those games, crushed by the Padres, 6 runs, 9 hits, and 4 innings just on August 26th. Last start against the White Sox was good, but that's a inconsistent, to say the least, White Sox lineup. And again, Royals are 0-4 in Bubic's last 4 starts. They haven't been winning with him. He's got a 5.98 ERA this year at home, whereas Bieber 2.88 ERA on the road. 10-5 are Cleveland in Bieber's road starts this year. So I think a first 5 full game run line is worth a look here for Cleveland.
Wow, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. My only concern would be the Royals hitting well in the last 2 weeks against righties, 105 weighted runs created plus. But it's Shane Bieber at the end of the day. Guardians hitting 25th against lefties, 74 weighted runs created plus. But it's Chris Bubic at the end of the day. So we'll see how that game goes. I'll keep an eye on it for you there. Let's move on to Texas, the battle of the Texas teams here. Houston versus the Astros. Houston versus the Rangers, I should say. Sorry. I've got Glenn Otto versus Framber Valdez. I bet on this matchup. Just feels like a couple days ago, and I lost on a Rangers bet where I thought maybe Framber could be vulnerable against a Texas team that's been hitting lefties pretty well. I learned my lesson. I'm not going to fade one of my favorite lefties. I'm just going to sit back and watch this game. I'd be a little interested in the Rangers here again if I hadn't lost that money, but I don't know. I just ultimately pass at the end of the day, especially because Astros not hitting well right now. 24th, 84 weighted runs created plus against righties in the last 2 weeks. And the Texas Rangers are 8th against lefties last 2 weeks, 127 weighted runs created plus. So feels like the same spot again, but can Framber pitch another gem? I'm not too sure. Bobana, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, Otto has been better lately. Houston, though, for Valdez, they've just been winning consistently. Houston with Framber Valdez on the mound. I think 6-0 in his last 6 starts. He maybe a letdown for Houston slightly. I mean, they're jacked up for their and excited for their young kid Hunter Brown, who was absolutely outstanding in his major league debut last night. A terrific performance from him, obviously. So. Yeah, it's a big number, and Otto's capable. And you mentioned Houston not quite hitting like they the last few games as they were, say, a week or 2 ago. So I guess the slightest leans to Texas, but Valdez is good. He's been in good form. They've been winning, so there's no reason to get involved for me.
Yeah, agreed here. By the way, the rookie they brought up, Hunter Brown, yesterday. Sheesh! I tried to tell people that I was told that he was a mini Verlander-esque. Bean's battling that bee right now. Bean's gonna fucking kick that bee's ass right now. But I tried to tell you guys that he's probably mini Verlander-esque, and he looked great last time out. So that was a whole lot of fun to watch that. I obviously didn't watch it live because it was blacked out, but the highlights are very nice. Let's talk Milwaukee Brewers versus the Colorado Rockies. Next game up, Woodruff versus Chad Cool here. And I truthfully wanted to take the Colorado Rockies. I wanted to take the Rockies in some form or fashion, but the team totals were just a little bit too high for me there. So I ended up passing at the end of the day here. I think Woodruff gets touched up, has a history of it being touched in Colorado. But at the end of the day, you're trying to bet on the team the last 2 weeks, the worst against righties, 55 weighted runs created plus. Being at Coors, I think helps them, but we'll see how much. I ended up passing on this game, Bobano.
Yeah, the total's pretty high, but I did a small bet on the over here. I think Rockies can still hit Woodruff, even with those concerns about their righty proficiency lately. Woodruff doesn't have a good track record in Coors Field, hasn't exactly been steady on the road overall either, and I'm not a big Chad Cool fan. He's been a little bit better lately after just getting crushed for several starts in a row there, but it's not saying a whole lot. The Brewers, I think, obviously, you don't want the Brewers against lefties, but against a middling righty, I think they should be able to do some damage. So I'm looking at probably a lot of runs in this game. Again, I don't love the number being that high at 11, but for me, it's a small play over the total.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, I kind of feel like both pitchers do get touched up today, so it makes a whole lot of sense to me as well. I'm very interested to see if I don't take the Rockies teams will up 4.5 and they score like 6 runs. It's
We're
catching.
outdoors, saturated. There you see. There's the blue sky there. There you go. That's just
Yeah.
a fence behind me here. Yeah.
And by the way, people were curious about when the sun sets in Hamilton. They were like, "What is this? It's like 5:30. What's going on?" So it's a lot of fun. We're having a lot of
Sunset's
fun.
not this early in September. No, we still have daylight till about 8 p.m. East local time. You won't get 5:30, 6 o'clock sunset till like probably not October, November, probably late October, early November. So that's still a ways away until it's dark at this time.
Yeah, no. Hey, I like the outside views. It makes me feel like I'm out there in the Hamilton skies. Breathing that Hamilton air.
Yep.
Love it. Maybe some steel gets in me and it'll make me a better person. Detroit, Los Angeles, next game on our slate. Eduardo Rodriguez, Mike Mayer, and a big move to Detroit Tigers and Eduardo here after getting touched up in his last start. I could see it. Do I want to back the Tigers at the end of the day? No. I like Eddie. I think he can bounce back well here, but Ohtani and Trout have been hitting well recently, so I end up passing on this game as well. I think Eduardo does well here, so I would not necessarily hate an under, but I ultimately pass, like I said. What about you, Boban? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely don't want my money on Mike Mayers. That is for sure. No question about that. Even though he's had little flashes of being better than I thought since this spot starter role that he's adopted here for the Angels. I can't even believe they went back to the Mike Mayers route. But nevertheless, here the Angels are. So I definitely don't want the Angels. But the problem is they're the better team right now. They're playing better baseball. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Mike Trout's, given this team really a big lift. You trace back to the moment they got Trout back from the IL, and this Angels team has played pretty good base, and they've actually been making some money with the Angels since then. They had a good series against the Blue Jays. They played well against the Yankees. I mean, you go on down the list, they've played better baseball lately. So I feel like I want to back the Angels right now, but I don't want to back them tonight with Mayers. I just don't. And on the flip side, I think Rodriguez probably has the edge. But I can't. I don't want to take this Detroit team. They're floundering. They've gone cold at the plate, so it's easy pass for me.
Beautiful. Easy pass there for me as well.
Coming back here.
Battle his ass. You just need like a spray. You need a spray, just get it off of you or whatever it is. Maybe a bug zap or
It
something.
ain't going away without a fight. Yep.
No. You have to battle for your turf on the street right now, Bobano. Battle for your turf. Arizona versus the Dodgers next game. Or no, that's not the Dodgers. This is the Padres. What am I? I wrote that. I don't know why, but I think LAD, SDP. I don't know why that gets just stuck in my head, but it's the Padres versus the Diamondbacks here. And I'm riding my snakes. I've been backing them the last couple of days. I backed them yesterday with their rookie on the belt, Brian Nelson, who spells his name with a Y for some odd reason. I'm on the Diamondbacks here again, first 5 money line. Merle Kelly, last start was a good one against the Milwaukee Brewers, 7 innings shutout, 7 Ks, no walks, 4 hits. Like him there. 2 starts against San Diego, both quality starts there. Last time out, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. Believe that this floundering Padres team can get beat here, even with Joe Musgrove on the bump. So I'm taking first 5 money line here for me. By the way, another little note about those surging snakes. 5th, 117 weighted runs created plus against righties in the last 2 weeks. So I'm backing the snakes. Bobana, what do you think about this squad?
Yeah, Merrill Kelly's bet on all the way. I think the last time I was on with you, I recommended Arizona. I think it was the last time I was on. I told you Merrill Kelly and the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think it was against Milwaukee, and they shut him out 5-0. Yep, I remember. It was last Thursday on the show. Yep, right back to the well. First 5 full game split. Ian Classic here. Ian Special on Arizona. I think it's a live dog. Kelly's in great form. Arizona as a team is in good form. Collectively, the pitching's been good. Bullpen's been solid. They're hitting the ball now all of a sudden. 8-2 in their last 10 games. And the San Diego, too inconsistent for my liking. So, yeah, I like Arizona here. First 5 full game money line split.
Beautiful. Little Arizona Diamondbacks action for Ian. We move on to the next game here. And by the way, we'll ask Ian for a little NFL action. By the way, we'll ask him if you want his college football, go watch Hating the Books. I'm going to ask him just quick little dabble, little taste in that action. He doesn't have to go into in detail. I just want to see any sides he's looking at early on in the week. the Atlanta Braves, Oakland A's next on our slate. And we all know Cole Irvin is a dominator at home, but can he do it against the second best offense against lefties in the last 2 weeks? 176 weighted runs created plus. Kyle Wright he went a little bit of a swoon, but even in his swoon, he was still pitching decently. Now he's back to just dominating. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 or no earned runs there against the Rockies. 7 innings, 2 hit ball, no earned runs against the Pirates. The A's not really a step up in offense from either one of those squads. So, why am I not on the first 500 here is my question now that I'm thinking about it. But, Bennett, what do you think about this game?
Well, the concern could be that Atlanta's offense is in pretty good form right now. And quite honestly, when it comes to Irvin for Oakland, he's had some couple rough starts at least recently. But again, he's back home now, and usually that's where we want to back Cole Irvin for the most part. And obviously he had a tough time last time out against Washington. 5 runs, 9 hits, 5.1 innings was pretty ugly, but he pitched great against Miami at home. Struggled against Seattle. That's the start that I remember. He struggled against Seattle at home back on August 19th. So he's been a little bit shakier lately, Irvin, but I still prefer Irvin at home above all else. And I still think the first 5 full game under in a split could be worth a look here in this game. I could only take Atlanta, but Irvin's done this before at home where he's pitched good. It's going to be a test with the way the Braves are mashing right now. And we know they can hit lefties sometimes as well, but I would still lean to a first 5 full game under.
What's funny, Bovada kind of knows and does not want you to bet it, really. They put up a 3.5 at even money. You got to go scroll and find that 4, under 4 at minus 125. So not really trying to make it very appealing for bettors. But today is kind of a day that I'm eating the juice, and I will recap my play. And I did not mention Peter Loshak's birthday pick to me that he gave, that I am betting and will be making official on the card, and I will recap that at the end of the show. Chicago White Sox, Seattle Mariners, a good pitching matchup here. Good pitching matchup that I don't really want to parse out. I'm a little skittish on this game. I think a little expensive for the Seattle Mariners at minus 150 with Logan Gilbert on the bump. Logan Gilbert, who last time out against the Tigers pitched well, 6-inning shutout, 9 Ks, 1 walk, exactly what you want. Cleveland Guardians, he pitched, I would say, pretty well. 6 1/3, 2 earned runs there. Home road split's a little worrisome. 3.94 ERA on the at home, I should say, and a 2.95 on the road. So I'm not going to back him here. I don't know what we're going to get from Johnny Cueto, especially too now, because we thought maybe after that Arizona 7 earned run performance, we thought, okay, is this the wall? Is he finally going to stop performing well? And then he pitches well again against the Kansas City Royals. There we go. I'm running through all the teams right now. But I don't know what we're going to get. I think obviously the Seattle's going to be a lot better and tougher matchup for Johnny Cueto. So I'm passing here, but I think the Seattle Mariners win this game.
So I won't bet against Gilbert. I like him. He's a good pitcher. Seattle, alpha loss. I don't want to bet against that either. And look, I was on the White Sox yesterday. It was just a clear spot. You got to take White Sox yesterday, given the situation. Seattle had that long game against Cleveland on Sunday, rain delay. Game didn't end till like after 11 p.m. Eastern time. It was a long rain delay. They didn't get out of Cleveland until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. local time. Had to fly back to Seattle, and then they had to play like a 3:30 p.m. local start time on Monday against the White Sox. Brutal spot. Awful spot for Seattle, about as bad as you could ask for. And yet they were still right there at the end, and they only lost 3-2. I was very fortunate to cash with the White Sox yesterday, even with that brutal traveling spot and situation for Seattle. Now they get to, get reacclimated again. They'll be probably a lot fresher, better tonight. And they've got a pitcher on the mound that's been good for them. But Cueto's been good on the road too. So this looks to me like a first 5 full game under type of split. The reason too I'm not taking Seattle is because there's a very strange thing going on with Chicago. They're now 5-1 since Tony La Russa has taken this leave from this team.
No, who would have thought?
Nobody wants to say it. And look, the man is obviously ailing from a health standpoint. We want him to get better. There's no question about that. But there's definitely a good fragment of that White Sox clubhouse that probably wanted him out of there. I'm serious. I know for a fact that's the case. And to me, it's not a coincidence that the White Sox have reeled off 5 of their last 6 since Tony La Russa has been away from the team. To me, that is not a coincidence. There is a bit more camaraderie, a little more accord within the White Sox team, the clubhouse. You can see it during these last few games. They're actually coming back. They're rallying back in games instead of falling behind and then showing no fight whatsoever, which we saw from the White Sox for weeks. So I'm not rushing to lay this kind of number against them right now, but I ain't going against Seattle and Gilbert because I think they're the better team. So pass for me, but fascinating game and a big game.
Yeah, it's so funny.
The bet I'd make is first 5 full game under if I had to do anything here.
I find it to be so funny that it's just such an obvious fix for this team, and Jerry Reinsdorf just refuses, just will not fire Tony La Russa. And I'll ask you, do you think that the health scandals, a little bit of a, Tony, let's find a way to get you out of here on a decent term. You're an old man,
You were falling asleep in the dugout earlier this year. Come on. You don't want to be doing this anymore.
Come on.
Yeah. Let you go. Yeah, let you go into the sunset. Do they have like a side deal in place now that, hey, we know you've had some health concerns the last little bit, but at the same time, kind of want to move on after this year. We'll do a nice little deal, get you out of your contract. Off you go, and we can look for a new manager.
Yeah, Jerry's like, come on, Tony. I know you're not liking this. I know the travel's bothering you. I got it. So it's going to be very funny to see. So I will be very fascinated to watch how the White Sox play indeed. You might have flipped me about that Tony La Russa. Just saying the Tony La Russa stat makes me very interested in the White Sox. I'm not going to bet on it, but I'll be watching nonetheless. Last game on our card, and I'm going to continue my experiment. I've said 3 days ago, I'm just gonna bet Dodgers run line for the rest of the year and see how it rolls out. We've done a couple of experiments on this program with my gambling to see what works, what doesn't work. Mentioned parlays as one of them. Mentioned fading minus 300s as one of them. I'm going to try this one. I hear my friend Preston talk about just bet on the best teams all the time. Well, I'm going to bet on the best team all the time and see how it works out. I'm going to have to lay the price a little bit, minus 150 for the run line, but I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm going to see how the Giants can fare on a bullpen day. Tyler Anderson, quality pitcher this year. Just shockingly quality. It's just one of those things I did not expect coming into this season. But that's what the Dodgers do. So Dodgers minus 1.5, minus 150. A juiced price, but I'm laying it. Shout out to Peter Loshak.
I wouldn't argue. I don't love the price that it's $1.50, to lay a run and a half here with the Dodgers. But, I mean, Tyler Anderson, 2.68 ERA overall, 2.2 ERA at Dodger Stadium, 9-1, the LA Dodgers in Tyler Anderson's 10 starts at home. And in terms of the scoring, average score in those 10 home starts for Anderson at Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers have outscored the opposition 5.6 to 2.2. That'll get the job done if you're laying a run and a half, if it's at the average or better than that. Brevia is just going to be, just a spot starter here, an opener, if you will. I mean, he's been an opener 3 different times this year. He's only pitched an inning in each of his 3 previous appearances as a starter. I wouldn't expect anything more than that. Maybe 2 innings if they wanted to stretch it, but probably, like I said, not much more than that. And when you look at it, too, the Giants are going to go bullpen by committee. Dodgers are capable of doing enough damage, probably. And if Anderson's anything close to what he's done all year, even if the Dodgers only put up 4 runs, there's probably a decent chance they can cover that run line. So, yeah, I wouldn't talk anyone out of Dodgers run line. I don't think it's great value, minus 150, but it's not a bet I would say no. Don't bet that. But minus 150 is a little pricey. But yeah, Dodgers run line, I would lean that way as well.
I agree. It's 100% pricey for sure. Not my favorite price to lay, but we're going to lay it. And, I'm laying it because compared to Peter Loshak's birthday pick that he gave me today, it pales in comparison. So I'm going to recap my plays, and we will start with Peter Loshak's birthday pick to me.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. Huh?
The juice is in Houston -1 at -197. Is Peter Loshak's birthday pick to me. He knows that I make fun of him for taking those juice prices. So he said, hello, here's your birthday pick. I'm -197. And I said, all right, Pete, I'll bet it straight up. No problem. I'll lay the juice. So I'm taking it. Houston -1, -197. Dodgers -1.5, -150. Arizona, first 5 money line, +120. Cincinnati, first 5 money line at +130. I'm not going to take the Red Sox. You guys know my low ROI with the Red Sox, so I ended up passing there, as well as passing on the Detroit Tigers, another team that I liked as well. I would not necessarily hate an under there either, but ultimately just passed at the end of the day. Bobana, what about you?
63%, by the way, is that percentage off a loss for the Dodgers this year. So that's very good. They've outscored the opposition by 2 runs per game off a loss. So there you go. That fits with the Dodgers -1.5. So yeah, I totally understand the reasons for people liking Dodgers run line. Birthday pick for tonight. Let's see here. It's a board where I like some stuff, but I don't love a ton. Let's go with let's go with an underdog. I really feel good about them. I really like them. They've backed this guy multiple times. He's always come through in the clutch for me. Let's go back to the well with the Snakes tonight. Arizona money line.
Oh, look at that. Interesting look there, Bobano. I love it.
Let's go for a little underdog. Yeah, let's go for some value. Let's cash a plus price. None of this big favorite shit. Let's go for an underdog for the birthday pick. Live dog.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll add both sides there. Arizona first 5 and full game will be on my card for that. Bobano, any other plays that you want to make official today?
That's about it, really, as the B comes back. I mean, we couldn't end the show without one last visit.
You know what's funny? It is hilarious that I'm wearing the Steelers jersey and the B is there. It is a little ironic. I wish I did have the striped bumblebee, but those are hideous jerseys. Jerseys. Bobano, before we head out, and that B pulverizes you and you go to town on it, do you have any NFL looks you want to mention here off the top? Doesn't have to be anything real in depth, just a side you're perhaps looking at before we get into that whole shenanigans here coming up on Thursday and this weekend.
Well, everybody has bet it too, unfortunately, but I really do like Miami against New England. I think there's a world difference between those two teams at the moment. New England's offense looked just totally horrendous in the preseason. They've got Joe Judge and Matt Patricia sharing play calling duties. That's going to go well. The offense didn't look good. The O-line didn't look good. And New England had tough times winning in Miami when Tom Brady was there. And now you're going to trust them to win in Miami week 1. I don't. So I like Miami. It's one of my top plays this week. The more I think about it, I think Pittsburgh might hang around against Cincinnati, even though, there's questions about Trubisky. I would lean Steelers plus the points. I like the over in the Eagles-Lions game. I think it's too many points to be laying with the Colts, believe it or not. I think, Colts spit the bit in week 1 last year. Let's keep that in mind. Didn't play well in week 1. So I'm kind of leaning Texans as long as you can get that one above +7. Jacksonville, Washington, a lot of money on Jacksonville, and I agree with it. Washington can't be laying points right now. They're that bad. I like the Chargers in a redemption spot against Las Vegas in the first week, laying 3.5. I think the Giants are live +6 against Tennessee. So it's a good card, I think, for week 1.
Yeah, I really like the card as well. I think it's going to be a fun week 1. A lot of fun shows coming up on Pub Sports Radio. A bunch here today. I'll plug real quick. One that I have a close heart on, and you guys will, of course, love to make fun of me for it. The Joe and Jamar Power Hour today at 9:30, actually, Central. So a little 10:30 action as well. So we will be there breaking down the UTSA game, that heartbreak. I got to see live on the front row. Ian, I actually watched the replay of that game in preparation for the show. And I sat front row right behind the goalpost. So many field goals, many PATs. I'm just right there. I'm just like, oh, you poor soul. Because my soul was left in that bleachers that day. So it was a whole lot of fun. And I'll let
Crazy game, an insane football game that was. Just watching it on TV, let alone being there at the Alamo Dome. And the play-by-play voice did a great job calling the big moments in that game too. Rich Waltz, I don't know why that guy got fired by the Marlins, but the Marlins are a fucked up organization and franchise. That's why.
Yep.
He great play-by-play man for them for years, and they canned him for no reason whatsoever, other than that he's good at his job. But now he's doing college football, and he did a great game there with Houston UTSA. So I think he's the one laughing at the end of the day. But he said it a million times on the broadcast, Jose. The atmosphere at Alamo Dome was terrific. He mentioned how impressed he was by it, and shout out to the fan base there and to the atmosphere it was at the Alamo Dome for what was an outstanding game, even though it was a heartbreaking conclusion for the Roadrunners.
Yep. Well, I have a lot of mixed feelings about them this week, but I hope you got in early and got the good line on them against Army. So it'll be a lot of fun. Ian, thanks so much for joining me, especially on this busy Tuesday of yours. I've got another show I've got to produce, and then another show I've got to produce, and then another show I've got to produce today.
Get your nap in and then get ready for Jimmy at 8 o'clock, the day premiere of Gridiron Gamblers, Andy and Jimmy at 8 p.m. Full NFL card breakdown.
Yes,
make sure you watch it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Today, that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, I hope Andy brings the knife. I hope he really does. The Cappers contest show with me and Jimmy today on Thursday at 2. It'll be a whole lot of fun, as well as your NCAAF Pub Hub show on Saturday mornings. I cannot wait for that show. Get you ready for all of the college football. Say hey to us on social media at Bobano, at Jose Bouquett on Twitter. We'll be back here again for another edition, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central, for more MLB breakdowns and for more winners. Say hey, and we'll see you guys next time.
We at Pop Sports Radio are doing our own Cappers contest. $100 entry fee. We will all be competing against each other. Every single cent that's put in will go into the prizes.
You've got 5 picks every week. If you go to pubsportsradio.com, you buy yourself that little ticket that you see on the website right there. Just hit add a cart. You buy the little ticket right there. And after you buy the ticket, you'll get an email with a link and a specific password for you to log in, make your picks, and all that good jam.
So it coincides, of course, with a survivor pool. 1 pick per week, sports survivor pool. That's exciting. We're having a Cappers contest, 5 picks against the spread each week, and a survivor contest. We all get to host the victors and roast the losers. The Cappers contest at Pub Sports Radio. All you have to do is go to pubsportsradio.com to sign up.